Good morning. Today is the 5th of August 2024 and I'm going to go through my plan for today, pick up the levels on ES, NQ, Q, SPY, etc. As always, before we start, let's look to see what news could make the market move today. We've only got one major news report come out this week, and that's today at 10 AM PMI, so I probably won't want to be trading until after PMI at 10 o'clock. So just keep an eye on that. So big gap down today, massive gap down actually. Let's just get my pen. Oh, it's doing it again, my pen's not working. Okay, one sec. So overnight we saw, I think it's the Japanese market selling off. I think it was its worst sell-off since the 80s, 1987, I think I heard on the news, which obviously pulled down the futures market with it. Just reloading my pen. And we are now sitting at an area where we could consider it as a bounce area, but it's a big, strong, negative red candle today. And it's going to be hard trying to find a long, even though we're coming into an area of resistance. We've got the 200 moving average coming up on the daily, and we've touched that and bounced. We've also got a big area of potential demand to the left as well. Hopefully my pen's working now. So this is the area we're looking at around here. That's where we are right now. We're taking a bounce off of that daily 200 moving average, and if we scroll back, last time we were anywhere near the 200 moving average was way back in October last year, and just before, this is the area just before we started this big bull run and hitting new all-time highs. So the previous all-time high, funny that's where we are right now, and that's where we've bounced, and that's the previous all-time highs before we had our run in January this year. So we can keep an eye on this potential area, as this area is potentially a bounce area. Have we found a bottom in this? I don't know, I'm not sure. But I'm going to play the chart today. Slightly biased shorts, although it's hard to go long as well because it's such a big reaction. Let's just drop down to the hourly and see where we are. Oh sorry, back on the daily again. Looking at volume as well. This is similar volume to where we saw up here, where we had a massive increase in volume and a sell-off, and then we had an increase in volume when we saw a bit of a bounce, a little bit of increased volume there, and we had a little bit of a sell-off, and then we kind of a little bit of an increased volume there for a sell-off there, and then we can see increase in volume over the last few weeks as we've been going into all-time highs at 5700 area, and we sold off as well. Big volume bar on Friday and Thursday. So if we just look at the volume, it's in proportion to the size of the candle as well, so it's not really an anomaly. You could argue we had a few anomalies last week where we had a wide range bar and wide range volume followed by a same size candlestick, and the volume was smaller, and then the next day we had a bit of volume come in again, but it's half the size of the previous day. So there was a few anomalies potentially setting up this flag which we were talking about last week as well. As for levels, let's go into the hourly. I quite like the rejection if we get back up to 5300 area. This area coming from this area of this previous pivot, we broke through it. Let's just see what it's like on the hourly. So 5300. In fact, if we look at the hourly, it makes it a bit of a clearer picture. We did actually break through that area in the post-market. Premarket came back and we did retest it, this region. So I still quite like this area for a retest and rejection. Let's just see what we've got to the left. Bounce wise, can't really see any good bounces if we're ignoring the 200 moving average on the daily until we get down to No, it's going to be hard. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. Yeah, this area here is a good bounce area, and look at that, happens to be around about the 5,000. So let's keep an eye on. It's not 5,000's down there, so I misread the chart. Yeah, let's keep an eye on this area here for a bounce, and that's 5,100. So nice psychological number. 5,000 is not until we get down there. That's a big bounce area as well, but we'll cross that bridge. Potentially that pivot we can watch. But what I'm really looking for is the break and retest. It's a retest of this area, 5,300 down to 5,252.70, that area for the rejection. So I'm going to watch that area. May consider a double bottom or a bounce at 5,100. And that's it. There's not really much more you can select on here. If we get all the way back up to this region, 5,400 area, 5,402, we can watch for another rejection, and that will continue our downtrend. Notice we've not put in any higher. It didn't come up to a higher high. There's a higher low. I meant a lower high. I meant, sorry, we come all the way down. Pretty extended. We are looking at a bounce area. We're really extended on the hourly from the 50 and the 8. So I think we can watch for a bit of a pullback and maybe look for a little bit of a bounce if you want to scalp it. But I think the best area is definitely around 52.77. That's the area I'll be watching, and I'm going to put my alert in. In theory, by the time we get up to that point, the 8 moving average would have caught up with it, and the 20 would have got down to that point as well. So let's take a look at SPY. Again, this area 532 for the rejection area, maybe the top of the bottom of the gap, 524 to 525, and then I quite like the bounce down in this region at 499.88, 500 psychological number. So that's a good bounce area. I think that's the only area I'd consider for a bounce. This region, and at 500 psychological number as well, so we can watch that area for a bounce, and I think that's it. And then for rejection, I quite like this area here, which is 522.30, and it's an area of confidence as well, a bit of volume to the left over here, and that's it really. They're the two areas to watch. We're right in between them both at the moment. Again, I won't be playing anything till PMI is done at 10 o'clock. Looking at SPX, so we're going to be gapping down well below this 200 moving average. So on the 4-hour chart, only because it's a bit easier to see with a bigger move. 52, this is an area to watch for a bounce. 5,200 and also 5,000, similar to ES. We can watch this region as well. So to see where we open, 5,200 or 5,100 for the bounce, and then if we come all the way back up into this region here, 5,400 for the rejection. Maybe consider Friday's lows, 5,200. Whatever, 5,300 I meant for the rejection as well. So we can watch for the break and retest of the 4-hour 200 moving average. Going to the hourly. Yeah, if we come back up into this region, we'll watch it for rejection, and that will help any shorts we're looking for. Next is NQ. Putting in a bit of a double bottom on the hourly right now. Looking left, it's kind of in that area we're watching in on SPY and ES. This bounce area 17,400. Really, we need to see it come back up here and get back to 18,500, which is this massive area of confidence, point of control, bottoms of pivots, bottom of the pivots, and we kind of came through, retested and sold off. So I'm watching 18,500 for the rejection today, and potentially we can watch this area for a bounce. And that's going against the trend though if we're going for a bounce, so it's a high risk bounce. and this would be a more higher probability if we can reject off of that area. And that's with the trend. QQQ. We've got to be watching again 443.50. That's area confluence based on bottoms of pivots. We bounced there on Friday and then we just broke through it today, gap down through it. So watch for a retrace back up to 443.50 for a bounce. We could watch 420 for the double bottom. Let's just look left. We've got a daily level. This solid yellow line is my daily level, and that is currently at 413, 410. That's an area confluence. Tops of candles, bottoms of candles, a pivot here, bottoms. So we can see what happens when we get down to that 410, 413 area. Oil next. Everything's red today. We're right in the rejection area right now. So you can see we've broken down through. We're coming back up. What used to be the floor is now the ceiling. So I quite like this area for rejection, 73. And then our trend line is still holding. That was drawn on last week. Let's see where we are with that. Had that trend line in place for some time. It held. So it shows it's working those areas. We can potentially watch for 71.50 for the bounce. Let's look at the daily. So this is the trend line. Remember, we drew that in. And we are now just playing between this zone, and at some point we're going to see some either a breakdown or it's going to break out, break up. So while we're playing, while this trend is in place, we can keep an eye on that. So if we come back up into the upper trend, we can watch for a rejection or watch for a bounce down here. That's it really for oil. We'll probably add the bounce, maybe retest that trend line. So 71.67 for the bounce, and then if we are expected to get back up to that trend line, we can watch for the break and retest. But it is into overhead resistance, so not a big fan. I'm not a big fan unless we see it break out of that trend line, or the two trend lines. Gold, back on the daily again. Still looking pretty solid. So what I'm seeing now is a flag. We're in the upper half of this range, which is a bit more bullish. So we can watch for a break and retest over the highs of Friday or Wednesday last week, or Wednesday in July. So let's see what that looks like in the hourly. Yeah. So break and retest over a pre-market high or over yesterday or Friday's high into these 2500 area. But 2500 is the area to watch for the break and retest, and that's the area I like today. Bounce wise, we can watch the bounce down where we are now, or maybe coming into one of these other levels. 2379 or 2400 is the best area for bounce. Psychological number. Bounced on, when was that? We bounced there previously. And if we're going to put in a double bottom, we could see another bounce as well. RTY. Now how about that? That's definitely died. So again, we're watching this. We were watching this flag pattern, and this is an example of not holding. It came out, didn't really get a chance to retest, and just sold off over the last day. So now we're back to our original trend line, which we've broken through as well. So ignore the trend lines, let's look for a bounce. We're right in a bounce area. We're looking more negative because we've broken down through our 40% region on the 4 million profile. This is the area where we get the most traffic, the most volume I meant, and we've broken out through it. So we can look for, I would like to look for a rejection around 2038, this region here, for the rejection down. I'll tidy up this chart at some point, give it some of these trend lines, and that will be the bottom of our 40% value area. So that's the only trade I like on RTY is the retest of this region. So let's just put in an alert. So my alert's set to 2035 for the rejection. Next up is YM. Again, that's broken the trend line. We can watch for it to retest back up in this region. That happens to be where the point of control is as well. We are below the 40% value area as well, so we can also watch for a rejection in this region. Where's the best area? Look for the most volume and the most touches, probably this region here. So 38,900 for the rejection, but a better place will be 39,600 for the rejection. No longs on this, I'm afraid. Okay, so Bitcoin. Added to my Bitcoin today at 50,000, around this area I think it was. Only some play-in, let's go to the daily. Playing this channel. Obviously we've actually lost that channel now. So added down there, added down here on the channel, added up there. Anticipating the breakout, which we got a fake breakout. But so I'm still in. I'm just averaging in, so I'm trying to find good prices. Next place to find an add is around the 40,000 region. This region here. Could watch this area for an add as well. Around 50,000. Exactly where we are. May add a little bit more this week if we're still down that area, but that's my add. What I was waiting for. Bottom of that trend, bottom of that channel. We've got volume coming in as well on this big sell-off as well. Let's see where we go with that. So still looking pretty bullish on the grand scheme of things. We're just putting in a bit of a pullback, but maybe we'll make another high. But it's a good time right now. I also added to my long-term portfolio as well today. I've got a portfolio set where I've got 3% of a lot of different sectors and stocks like Microsoft and Nvidia, so I just added to everything. I think I've got Spine, I think there's about 10 or 20 different sectors I'm watching. I just added to all of them. It's a automated system set up with Pi, with Trading 212, which I use in the UK here. That's it really, and just quickly look at ES. We like these big red days. It gives us a few more levels to play with. Just to recap ES, I like the bounce down at 5100, that area there on this. This is a daily we're looking at the moment. And I quite like the rejection if we come back up into 5300, dropping it down to the hourly. So this area, 5270 to 5300 for the rejection, or 5100 for the bounce. A quick look at order flow.